Ukraine is now striking targets deep inside Russia, and it is changing the war. New Ukrainian drones are hitting Russian oil refineries, ammunition depots, troop positions, headquarters, and military supply routes from nearly 60 miles away. These are not small attacks anymore. Ukraine is now damaging Russia far behind the front line. And according to military sources, these drone strikes are becoming one of Kyiv's most effective weapons. Here's how Ukraine's drone war is reshaping the battlefield. Ukraine has rapidly expanded its drone program. The biggest change came from new mid-range drones. These drones can now fly far beyond the battlefield and hit targets deep behind Russian lines. That gives Ukraine a major advantage. Before this, many Russian supply hubs and command centers were relatively safe. Now, they are under constant threat. Ukraine is using drones to attack ammunition depots, fuel storage sites, military headquarters, troop concentrations, and supply convoys. The goal is simple: damage Russian logistics and slow down Russian military operations. One of the biggest targets is Russia's energy infrastructure. Ukrainian drones recently struck the Tuapse oil refinery in Russia. Satellite images showed massive fires and smoke after the attack. These strikes are important because oil facilities help fund Russia's war effort. Ukraine wants to increase economic pressure on Moscow while also damaging fuel supplies for Russian forces. And Russia is now struggling to fully protect all of these sites. Because the attacks are happening across a very large area. Drones are now one of the most important weapons in the war, and Ukraine is heavily relying on them because of manpower and ammunition challenges. Instead of using expensive missiles for every strike, Ukraine is using cheaper drones to damage high-value targets. That strategy is forcing Russia to spend more money on air defenses and protection systems. At the same time, small drones are also dominating the front line. Both Russia and Ukraine now use drones constantly for surveillance, artillery targeting, kamikaze attacks, and battlefield coordination. This war is becoming one of the world's first large-scale drone wars. The NBC report also highlighted past tensions between Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. During a previous Oval Office meeting, Trump criticized Zelenskyy directly. Trump reportedly told him, "Without us, you don't have the cards." The comment reflected growing debate inside the United States about continued support for Ukraine. Some American politicians want stronger military backing for Kyiv. Others want to reduce involvement and push for negotiations instead. But despite political debates, Ukraine continues expanding its drone warfare capabilities very quickly. These attacks matter because they force Russia to fight on multiple fronts. Russia now has to defend frontline troops, military bases, oil infrastructure, rail networks, supply depots, and command centers. That stretches Russian defenses. And every successful drone strike creates more pressure on Moscow. Ukraine cannot fully match Russia in manpower or industrial capacity, so Kyiv is trying to use technology and mobility to weaken Russia over time. The Ukraine war is also sending a message to the rest of the world. Cheap drones can now damage expensive military systems, and countries across Asia, the Middle East, and Europe are paying attention. Because future wars may look very different. Large tanks, ships, and military bases are becoming more vulnerable to low-cost drone attacks. That is why militaries across the Indo-Pacific are now investing heavily in drone technology and counter-drone defenses. Ukraine's drone campaign is growing larger and more aggressive. Russian targets far behind the front line are no longer safe, and the battlefield is changing rapidly. This is no longer just a traditional artillery war, it is now a technology war, and drones are becoming one of the most important weapons shaping the future of modern conflict. For more geopolitical and military analysis, subscribe to Indo-Pacific Report Global and stay informed.